The sky didn't just light up, it caught fire. In a display of overwhelming synchronized military might not seen since the opening nights of Operation Desert Storm, the United States and Israel have just fundamentally rewritten the rules of engagement in the Middle East. The target? The intricate, deeply entrenched command structure of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, and its elite Quds Force. The payload? Thousands of precision-guided munitions, bunker busters, and cruise missiles raining down across multiple time zones. The result? Unprecedented. According to reports, 48 high-ranking Iranian commanders and proxy leaders were eliminated in a single, devastating wave of strikes. For years, the shadow war between the U.S., Israel, and Iran has been fought in the dark. A drone strike here, a covert assassination there. But tonight, the shadows were obliterated by the flash of thousands of bombs. This wasn't just a retaliation. This was a systematic decapitation of Iran's terror proxy network. But how did Washington and Jerusalem pull off the most complex coordinated strike of the 21st century? How did they pinpoint the exact locations of 48 elusive commanders? And more importantly, for every American watching at home, what happens tomorrow morning when Tehran wakes up to find its military brain trust completely wiped out? The sky didn't just light up, it caught fire. In a display of overwhelming synchronized military might not seen since the opening nights of Operation Desert Storm, the United States and Israel have just fundamentally rewritten the rules of engagement in the Middle East. The target? The intricate, deeply entrenched command structure of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, and its elite Quds Force. The payload? Thousands of precision-guided munitions, bunker busters, and cruise missiles raining down across multiple time zones. The result? Unprecedented. According to reports, 48 high-ranking Iranian commanders and proxy leaders were eliminated in a single, devastating wave of strikes. For years, the shadow war between the U.S., Israel, and Iran has been fought in the dark. A drone strike here, a covert assassination there. But tonight, the shadows were obliterated by the flash of thousands of bombs. This wasn't just a retaliation. This was a systematic decapitation of Iran's terror proxy network. But how did Washington and Jerusalem pull off the most complex coordinated strike of the 21st century? How did they pinpoint the exact locations of 48 elusive commanders? And more importantly, for every American watching at home, what happens tomorrow morning when Tehran wakes up to find its military brain trust completely wiped out? To understand the sheer scale of this operation, we have to understand the breaking point. For American audiences, the Middle East can sometimes feel like a distant problem, but for the thousands of U.S. service members stationed at outposts like Al-Assad Air Base in Iraq or Tower 22 in Jordan, the threat is a daily reality. For over a decade, Iran has operated under a strategy of plausible deniability. Instead of fighting the U.S. and Israel directly, Tehran uses the IRGC to fund, train, and arm a ring of fire. Proxy militias, including Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, and various Shia militias in Iraq and Syria. These groups have launched hundreds of rockets and suicide drones at American bases and Israeli cities. The Pentagon and the IDF have traditionally responded with proportional, limited strikes, tit for tat. But proportional responses don't win shadow wars, they just prolong them. Intelligence intercepted by the NSA and Israel's 8200 revealed a chilling reality. A massive, coordinated escalation was being planned by Iranian commanders. A summit of top-tier IRGC generals and proxy leaders was unfolding across several deeply buried, heavily fortified command nodes in Syria, Lebanon, and inside Iran itself. This was the opportunity of a lifetime for CENTCOM and the IDF. 48 key architects of Iran's proxy war were vulnerable. But to eliminate them, the U.S. and Israel couldn't just send a handful of drones. These commanders were hiding in subterranean bunkers, protected by Russian-made S-300 and domestic Bavar 373 air defense systems. Taking them out required a level of firepower that boggles the mind. It required thousands of bombs. It required an operation so overwhelming that the enemy wouldn't even have time to sound the alarm. Here is exactly how the most lethal air armada in modern history was assembled. When the order was given by the commander-in-chief in Washington and the prime minister in Jerusalem, the gears of the world's two most advanced militaries locked into place. The strategy was broken down into 3 phases: blind, breach, and bury. Phase 1, blind. Before a single bomb fell, the sky belonged to the ghosts. Deep in the night, U.S. EA-18G Growlers and specialized Israeli electronic warfare aircraft pushed into the airspace. Their job? To fry the sensors of Iranian radars. Using advanced jamming pods, they flooded enemy screens with false targets and static. To the Iranian radar operators, the screens either showed nothing at all, or they showed 10,000 jets coming from every direction. Phase 2, breach. With the radars blinded, the 5th-generation fighters moved in. Israeli F-35I Adir stealth fighters and American F-22 Raptors slipped undetected past the borders. These jets aren't just fighters, they are flying supercomputers. They identified the active air defense batteries and unleashed anti-radiation missiles, weapons designed to ride the enemy radar beams right back to the source. Within minutes, the air defense umbrella protecting the Iranian commanders was completely dismantled. The door was kicked open. Phase 3, bury. This is where the thousands of bombs come in. From bases in the continental United States, massive B-2 Spirit stealth bombers had flown a 30-hour round trip. From bases in the Middle East, U.S. Air Force F-15E Strike Eagles and B-1B Lancers joined Israeli F-15I Ra'em fighters. They carried a terrifying payload, JDAMs to demolish surface structures, but the real stars of the show were the bunker busters. For the shallow bunkers, Israel utilized the 2,000-pound BLU-109s, but for the deepest Iranian command centers, the U.S. brought out the big guns, the GBU-57 Massive Ordnance Penetrator. Weighing 30,000 pounds, this GPS-guided Titan can plunge through 200 feet of reinforced concrete before detonating. The sky rained steel. Over a period of just a few hours, thousands of munitions found their marks. 0 hour. The coordination was flawless. In Damascus, a covert command center masquerading as a civilian logistics hub was leveled in seconds. In Beirut's southern suburbs, a subterranean meeting room hosting IRGC liaisons collapsed under the weight of precision strikes. And in western Iran, key missile silos and drone launching facilities were vaporized. But the objective wasn't just concrete and steel. It was the 48 commanders. These were not foot soldiers. These were brigadier generals, logistics masterminds, drone warfare specialists, and the financial architects who funnel millions of dollars to terror groups. By eliminating these 48 specific individuals, the U.S. and Israel didn't just cut off the head of the snake, they severed its central nervous system. Imagine a massive corporation suddenly losing its entire board of directors, all of its regional managers, and its top IT specialists in a single night. The institutional knowledge lost is staggering. These commanders had spent decades building relationships with local warlords, memorizing smuggling routes, and developing tactics to harass American troops. You can't just promote the next guy in line and expect things to run smoothly. The next guy in line doesn't have the contacts, he doesn't know where the money is hidden, and more importantly, he is now terrified that he is next. As dawn broke over the Middle East, the scale of the destruction became clear. The thousands of bombs dropped hadn't just destroyed buildings, they had fundamentally altered the balance of power in the region. The Pentagon and the IDF had sent a message written in high explosives. We see everything. We can reach anywhere, and your bunkers are just pre-dug graves. So, the dust has settled. 48 commanders are gone. Thousands of bombs have successfully hit their targets. But in geopolitics, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. What happens now? What does this mean for the United States? First, we have to look at the immediate paralysis of Iran's proxy network. Without their IRGC handlers, groups like the Houthis and Iraqi militias are temporarily blinded. We are likely to see a sharp, immediate decrease in attacks on American troops and international shipping lanes. The proxies are scrambling for survival, unsure if